consistency that he was pulling off those miracles. I don't know if I'd call him that anymore. The question, though, that for me comes in is where are we going to see nicoodoz in performance-wise? Where are we going to see Roy in terms of performance? Obviously, Roy is the big, solid man who has been able to maintain his form. And if he's not able to show up on Vertigo, I've got some big question marks. And I'm normally not good with punctuation, Michael, but I feel like this one might be the correct one to use.
It's a big question mark, I think it's fair to say.
Indeed.
Well, no kits here for the CT side. They do have a singular belt of utility via Macazin, but running a little light here on the Copenhagen Flame side as well. Usually we'll see like a Molotov be picked up by this T side so they can run some of these early protocols to take some ramp aggression and really flesh things out, but the Flames are going for a very, very passive hold to start things off, especially considering how Akimbo played the CT pistol on Inferno. Maybe they're just expecting some kind of crazy stack and push.
Oh, nicoodoz. Those question marks, well, they've just gotten a little bit smaller. But it likely... Akimbo still do have quite a few players around this B-bomb side, so they shouldn't be too bothered, especially if Kyojin starts hitting shots like that. Obviously, one of the players was slightly more quiet in the previous round, but Jabbi's still lurking and waiting. Kyojin, don't go too far. There's still a big bad wolf waiting to chomp down.
Making some progress over at A all the meanwhile, so the fact that they get that one kill, you can see it pulls a lot in flux here on that CT side. Now they're rotating back and forth over towards A. They go 3 players here, and that bomb is still not really deterred from moving much further forward.
And right now they're going to be rotating fast back to B. This is going to be a big mistake unless they can find the kill down in mid, and that's exactly what nicoodoz does. It still is the lurker, that's Jabbi, but the bomb's going to be planted. Roy in the meanwhile's caught and so aggressive. Good for 2. As well, so the bomb should be a safe one, and Jabbi is just waiting to give them another stab in the back. Michael, this is like Caesar. Turns one way, stabbed over here. Turns the other way, stabbed over there. It's 22.
Et tu, Brute. They actually go B in the end of it as well because they understand that that's where the rotate came through. It was hard to tell which direction Copenhagen Flames were going. Akimbo completely bamboozled by the back and forth motions, the constant pressure being applied from either side, and now Roy's on a flank.
I mean, how many times are we going to see them get away with it? But it might be too late for him to activate because Kyojin is pushing through. Python is still watching out for Roy's back as well. And Python might be able to get this. Remember, he's been the wonder boy of the late round. And with a quick tap, Kyojin has to find the defuse. Now, there is still going to be a smoke down. Kyojin trades out. He could try to stick, but Roy's got low HP and lots of time to try and work around this one. Kyojin misses out on his opportunity. And at best, he might be able to save that Kepler.
Yeah, might have managed off with 4 kills, but it doesn't matter if Copenhagen Flames are still able to come away with the round. That was such a tricky maneuver, and one that's really, really difficult to pull off because it's so dependent on actually getting those opening kills and forcing these rotates out from that CT side. This is really what sparked it all. nicoodoz finding that kill, it rotated an additional player over towards B. Meanwhile, they're making some solid progress at that A site by throwing a smoke, but actually not making any sound cues after the fact. Akimbo really just perplexed as to what was going on in that mid-round, and Copenhagen Flames really showing a level of class in that moment, making the correct decision all in all. Still scary buy here to go up against here on the side of Akimbo, especially with the double up in middle. Haji, that low ground enough to distract and get some solid damage on a 3rd player, but that's all he'll do. Still a 3-on-3, but that weapon can be recovered.
There are 3 rifles on Copenhagen Flames' side, and all of them are looking a little bit scared, Michael, because the Deagles, we've seen them come through a couple of times even in this series. I'm just saying, if Hooksy loses out his AK and it can be recovered, you already have an M4 on Python. There are definitely opportunities, but not if Roy's hitting shots like that, Michael. Not. And
this is one of the maps where Roy really showed his ability to find entries alongside, like you previously mentioned, an Ancient. You can see just how dialed in he is into all of these fights. Akimbo 2-on-3 for the retake. That one rifle that Python has on his hands may be better saved. Anything for it. Python in these clutch moments has been so big, but Roy tagged to low HP. It's actually recovered by Kyojin, so all these tag players could actually have an impact.
Problem is that Jabbi's still fully ducked away. Quick fake coming out. If Jabbi reveals himself and does end up going down, this will be dangerous, but Jabbi is so damn aware. Kyojin is looking to play that one. Beautiful stuff, but it does get incredibly expensive. However, this is supposed to be the round now, coming up next, where you can reaffirm that economy anyway. Man, if Haji gets that kill, totally different.
Again, liking that Akimbo are willing to go for some of these more dangerous stacking plays just because they understand what kind of resources they're working with. Almost worked out in their favor. Get that kill and it changes the dynamic of that round so substantially. Like you were saying, the money can be more astutely stabilized here on the side of Copenhagen Flames, especially with Roy on that Mach 10. Expect him to be the one doing most of the probing. By the fact you might want him on an AK for some of these long-distance fights if he's able to successfully realize what's going on the A side stack. The rest of the team, they just funnel over towards B instead. Too much noise being made, and not a lot of resistance on the other side.
One of the things I did actually want to point out about the pistol as well, Michael, is that Akimbo actually started shooting at Ali as a pre-fire. Otherwise, Roy wouldn't have been able to pull off that lurking maneuver. So they gave away a bit too much information, actually. Otherwise, Roy might have just pushed into them regardless. That extra info he gets of there being at least 2 players there, that's one of the reasons why he pauses as long as he did.
Like fallback shots, right? Where they're just trying to fake some presence out to some degree.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that well against really experienced players. They don't even have the most amount of sort of league experience. It's something that's a tendency coming out of like the pug circuit when you're trying to make a quick rotate but keep somebody at bay for a little longer. You know, just fire off a couple of shots. Just let them know you're there. But a lot of people could put 2 and 2 together. Why are you giving me this information?
Absolutely. Copenhagen Flames right now, they'd love to put 2 and 2 together to get to 4 rounds as well, Michael. See that? See that transition?
Well, it's round to round basis, so it'd be 3+1, but I'm with you.
Okay, Michael, okay. But right now, Hooksy is able to trade out kills very early on. That's an M4 that can also be recovered to trade out for that Mach 10 that he's got. And with the utility on the CTs being as poor as it is, this honestly might just be a round where I would heavily favor a Copenhagen Flames to win this up because Akimbo aren't actually trying to gamble stack either. I'd love to see them just gamble and save if they don't look like they're going to get it. Instead, they're going to get aggressive. No flashes to help out. They've got a trade, courtesy of Python, but won't really be enough.
You know, these 2 players are kind of just postured up to save should they be allowed to. Mounting pressure over at B, and Zyphon actually finding that kill. Thought after the initial missed burst, he might have just fallen off of the angle, understanding where at least one of these players was, and that attentions would be divided between the remaining CTs. Now it leaves Maka trapped between 2 of these sites that are feeling equal amounts of pressure. Bomb being at least set up to go over towards that A side, but they want info about where this AWPer is. They don't even chance it.
Yeah.
If they moved into A and Maka was there, that could have been a little devastating, so they just move in numbers.
Thing is that Maka could still actually bring a couple of them down. There's not that much time left. He's dropped the bomb, and now they have to recover. Maka knows it. If he got that shot, this would have been really dangerous. Even the Deagle shot coming in, and Zyphon's the one who has to defend. A quick tap to secure it in the end, but that definitely could have been ready.
Yeah, it's almost the one thing you were scared of the most is actually what you end up falling into because Maka never really left that mid spot because I don't think he really knew where he wanted to go with it after both his A players die and his solitary B anchor dies. Not a lot of safe territory.
He just waited mid.
Yeah. Almost fell right into his lap as a result. Back to pistols now for Akimbo. This is off to another flying start here for the Copenhagen Flames, now this time on the T side. But pistols, I mean, you can't underestimate them. Deagles have found a couple of kills, and one of these weapons, as a result of some successful hunting, has found its way into the Akimbo hands. It's another one that could be retrieved in the middle, but a couple of keeping guard of it. Another time where they've held this headshot angle, and Rory just taps him out.
Question is, find this quick one onto Roy because this gives him so much more space towards Ali. There's no one else here to recover. nicoodoz has to do it all on his own. His backup is too far off. Zyphon's not going to be here for so long, and if these Deagles catch him out, that's going to be round over pretty much. Zyphon's here now, though, and nicoodoz can combine forces.
Flank, and they're both in the sight.
Yeah, that is a problem, but surely they're going to check, and that's exactly what Zyphon ends up doing. The CT is not being willing to aggress off of those Deagles, and because they're so far apart, make it so even though there was a bit of a spacing issue between Zyphon and nicoodoz, they just can't take advantage.
I don't think they're going to play that headshot box quite like that in future rounds here on the side of Akimbo. That's the second time that we've seen Roy just rip the head clean off of that player. And again, it's another time where we've noticed just how clean he is and how methodical he approaches some of these entries. Awkward angle for Kyojin to win the fight, but he does so at a hefty cost. Hooksy does finish off the job, so down to this 4-on-4 right off the jump. This is 20 seconds into the round, and Copenhagen Flames are comfortable enough to reset and refocus where their aggression is going to move into, because Akimbo, they're still unsure. They're moving for presence in towards middle. They've rotated an extra player over towards B, while Copenhagen Flames have diverted most of their attention towards that A ramp.
Akimbo, this might be the time when this aggression starts to pay off. Haji misses his chance, though. Now Python's trying to do something similar over towards the B bomb site. Nothing to find here, though, unless Copenhagen Flames goes for a long rotate. Haji, adjustment from Jabbi is beautiful. Very similar way to how Inferno started off so far, Michael, but I have a feeling that Akimbo might not have quite as much in the tank for adjustment, especially on the CT side of it.
Yeah, do they have as many solutions lined up?
Yeah.
Presence being made, and Maka's flanking with that AWP. He pushed middle earlier on, so Akimbo actually could have lent A early into this round. Nade is solid, but Copenhagen Flames has ground to a halt.
20 seconds and they need to make a move, and fast. There's still that M4A1 behind in the hands of Kios, so those smokes aren't going to be everything for you. In fact, deep smoke instead of the shallow ones to try and guarantee the bomb plant. Maka's still good for one in the meanwhile before being traded, and Hook sees the one to secure the plant. It's all Python, and he's been so good in clutches before. Is this another one of those beautiful moments? Not quite. Zyphon will snuff him out.
Oh, the audacity as well there from Zyphon. Didn't get scared off by the fact that his teammate dies on the bomb site, just holds his ground and waits for him to jump up into that angle that's been such a difficulty for Akimbo to get any success from, whether it's been Roy, Jabbi, to find these kills. It's now Zyphon that has, again, this impeccable crosshair placement to just deal with that jump up. Python has been an absolute fiend, and you could certainly see a moment just shining through where he might have been able to pull off another clutch to actually get things going here on the side of Akimbo, but Copenhagen Flames just continue on this roll. Wonder if 8 is really where things start breaking down, because that's what we saw from Inferno. Timeout for Akimbo.
Like I'm telling you, he would have had that with an M4A1. A long-range laser beam spray? But no.
Do we end up in that debate? Yeah.
Well, no, regardless though, Python definitely does find himself a chance, but the fact of the matter is that Akimbo are in so many of these situations where if you have a late round finish, that's beautiful, but you're just not getting those, and that's not going to be a guarantee. Like I said before, it looked like Python could work all the miracles in the world in Inferno, but no, you're not always going to be a prophet in the game.
We saw the danger that lies with these pistols. We found 2 nice openings in a round prior on the side of Akimbo, only for Copenhagen Flames to answer back. Keep a cool head in a chaotic situation. Another A-side lean here for the CTs, and these close-range fights, 5-7, Haji, I mean, if the AWPer goes first there, that's a real danger duel.
Rifle's going to be sticking out as well, unless he's very careful about how to peek into it. 5-7 could definitely triumph in that situation, and there is a decent stack over here. Akimbo is still looking so hesitant to actually stack multiple players early on, despite even being in a bit of a weirder buy over here, obviously. It's a little bit disappointing to see, if I'm being honest. Hooksy's going to pass over the bomb and be the one to clear out Ali instead. That grenade as well. Hooksy's just being so thorough. Spam's not going to be connecting, so Hachi's still able to maintain that position and has got some backup behind him. Now rotations coming through as well as those flashes. Hachi is tagged. Not quite brought down with that grenade is going to be just enough. Kyojin, the only responder, and that response is going to fall short. Python all alone, as we've seen so many times over, but surely not this one. 7-0. Copenhagen Flames, the trajectory is identical. Will the result be?
Yeah, nice recognition of the economy there, and then also realizing that Akimbo sometimes just played that crane position, fighting from the sandbags, maybe a little bit of pressure over towards short, but it was quiet, almost too quiet. So they're actually very meticulous about how they clear out all those angles. They expend so much util, really dotting all the I's. Nice opening pick here from Maka. First time we've seen him on that AWP actually move over towards that A side. He's been so heavy in towards mid instead. And they're actually close to the smoke here on the side of Akimbo. Copenhagen Flames can't move past.
Hard to score by Maka. That response is just perfect. He's not going to be located either. Maybe this double up is exactly what they needed. They're being so much more aggressive off the back of it, but is that going to be maintained? You're still seeing a very slow will to rotate, Michael. Until we see a little bit more of that, I'm always going to be worried that Copenhagen Flames at the same time, it seems like they might be rotating over towards a B bomb site. The site with, I would argue, more direct stacks coming through.
Yeah, and won't have a lot of support because we were kind of talking about it on Inferno. Python's got a secondary AWP, so Kyojin has to do all the work, but he's so prepared for that headshot angle. Jabbi missed his lines. The Kyojin smoke that's down. It's not going to be enough to extinguish the flames, but he actually gets enough room to reposition.
This is going to be so dangerous for Hooks. He's expecting Kyojin to have backed off, but I think Kyojin actually heard him getting up on top of it. What a transfer from Kyojin! It is raw aim, and this man finds them the first. A little bit earlier than what we saw in Inferno, but maybe that is just more opportunities to come.
Yeah, one of those spots where he shouldn't be winning out that duel, but just the fact that the flash is great. But all of this really stems off the fact that, you know, we've seen some more defensive holds here from Akimbo over towards the A side. But because Maka got that opening pick, they didn't want to give up that territory for free after the fact. So they just kept fighting for it. The fact that Maka got a secondary frag, Akimbo were happy to sit pretty on that. And it just came down to that B play where Kyojin is just showing some of that mechanical marvel. Maybe a little absent, sure, in that first map, but I think everybody's kind of contributing in equal form here on the side of Akimbo. Finally getting themselves that first round. It was so elusive for far too long. Maybe they'll fall short just before that 8. We'll see if this trend continues for Akimbo, whether they found the right and winning solution.
He almost finds it, and with the flashbang, he's able to force Python off as well. That secondary op is already gone, and the aggression means Maka's gonna have to be the one to recover. He might even go for more. There's a gap in the smoke, and flashes being avoided means that Maka's just running through the fire. This is an over-rotation, though.
Yeah, they haven't committed yet here on the side of the Flames. 3 players sort of leant over towards that B side of the map, and Jabbi is going to try and keep them busy. Some utility being thrown. Kyojin will get burned out of that close angle spot towards B ramp, but so much progress here from the Flames. They may have cleared out mid, but now Kiel's actually moving down towards ladder. That is now a significant threat.
This is going to be so dangerous. Roy's also not going to have an easy kill over here either, and surely the rotation has to be coming through sooner from Akimbo this time over. They have so much info, and Kios has spotted out the player. He's been seen as well, but does it matter? Over here, this is when the call can be made. You're not going to be that deep unless you're committing, and now Zyphon's planting the bomb. They're still going to be in good post-plant positions, but because they don't have a smoke, Roy is moving past and playing aggressively. A flashbang through to try and help him peek, and that should be enough to catch out too. Instead, it's through the wall. Roy is intercepting. nicoodoz is giving him all the assistance he needs, and together they can shut down any hope on Akimbo.
How'd gets a lesson just how paper thin those walls are as you're scaling back in towards that A bomb site. I mean, some great reactions all in all from both teams. The fact that Akimbo's able to claw back into the 4-on-4 with the quick rotate from Maka. It's just the fact that as soon as they started to feel this pressure mounting at B, they do over-rotate, and they're playing super defensive. They're playing in from the elevator's connector, and they just don't have a lot of pressure or presence to stop the progress there from Copenhagen Flames. Now it's a fast-paced play from Roy, just getting himself into the scaffolding nice and early. The one man at A that you really wanted to keep alive for a little longer because they have lent a bit more heavy into this mid and B stack.
He's welcome Zyphon with open arms, but right now those open arms are turning into fists from the side of the Flames. Oh.
I'm telling you, man, this guy is just so sharp.
It's like Vertigo is just made for him, Michael.
Should I start moving into competitive CS? I thought I was too old for it.
Michael, I don't think age is your problem, you know? Even being given a handicap by his teams.
Doesn't matter. Should be a move to save here from Akimbo. Chasing this one down in a 2-on-4. Yeah, wouldn't be advisable. Don't even think they're going to be able to get away with this one. Jabbi might have great timing. Kyojin's already low. And did he spot the second shadow? Doesn't seem so. Making a lot of noise and running away. Keels might have found a timing where he can just escape into the wilderness.
Michael, I have a feeling that the wilderness isn't all that welcoming because they've been in it for a while now and they're not finding any success from it. You know, this is like if Mowgli just died.
Yeah, man. I mean, nature's scary. Let's just have that right now. I was asked a question recently about what's the largest animal that you think you could take in a 1v1. There's not many, man. There's some of these guys ferocious.
Maybe it's chicken?
Yeah, reasonable.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty skewed fight.
Because I don't think I could take a turkey on. I'm not gonna lie. Those are terrifying. I'd run away if I saw a turkey coming at me. I've actually done that in the past. But right now, Roy, that is true, 100%. Flashbang goes deep, and Haji wants to go in. He's found it with the 5-7, makes it 2 as well. On top of it, picks up the AK. And now, he's just forcing them back, finally. Yabbi's able to put him down. Gobble, gobble, Roy. We'll bring it back to a 2-on-3 at the very least, but they are weak.
Yeah, this turkey ain't stuffed quite yet. Flames might just fall apart off of pistols once again. Haji's just got some real impeccable strength. Just in their face before they knew it. That's the most aggressive we've seen Akimbo set up on the CT side. Usually they've been fighting past the smokes. Instead, they're actually getting in the thick of it. And with them so low HP, yeah, I mean, the hesitance is understandable. One misstep and you fall victim to what is potentially even just a USP. Akimbo really willing to gamble on this one. 3 players in mid. They've left A completely vacant.
That one flashbang from Python could still be everything, though. Problem is, the double nade, if that actually connects, that's going to be scary. 25 seconds now, they're making their way back onto the bomb site. Yabbi's going to peek out. There's a quick dink onto him as well. Everyone's weak in the knees, but their knees are going to hold up regardless. Python and Kyojin finally get to capsize, and with 15 seconds, nicoodoz on less than that. As far as HP is concerned, no bomb either. This one's a quick W for Akimbo. Question is, can they find the off or no? Not quite. Not after time, at least.
Yeah, great call to just simply hide, don't peek. Oh, fumbling guns. Wanted to make sure that both players get away with an AK, and Akimbo. They relied on a full save on Inferno to really get their CT side going, and now it's this half buy that really spurs them forward. Haji just so aggressive. Even though he let one player past him, it was disruptive enough that Copenhagen Flames were just ground to this significant halt. No idea where to go. Didn't have any real substantial control because A was their main focus. I could really turn this half on its head. It might be that same comeback path for Akimbo to threaten going into the second half.
Oh, Roy! He's just in there. Could even be 3. He's got it through the smoke. Casually slicing and dicing them down. Man.
My bad. Talking about a comeback path, and Roy's not having any of it. He's 18-7 for the half.
And he's entrying.
Yeah, exactly. He's finding a lot of these on... He's finding a lot of these on entry kills. Sometimes it's these tricky lurk plays, but he's still kind of front-lining the bomb site.
I can see why they picked Vertigo instead of Overpass.
Oh, for sure. Just so in his element.
Mm-hmm.
Not the kind of place you expect the wilderness to be.
Yeah, not on top of
a building.
Indeed.
Wow, well, yeah. Maybe it's post-apocalyptic. That's where nature takes over.
I'm just, honestly, I'm just stunned by what Roy does. Roy is basically, also, you've seen him, he's a handsome fella, pretty stacked as well. Roy's basically the man who I would expect to survive in the wilderness.
Yeah, he's certainly built for it.
Yeah.
I just have to say as well, that's a kind of round that I think a lot of people will have their attention pulled towards for a VP lineup. You know, you look at players like Yakindar, loves to take these sort of fast lines and get really aggressive, and sometimes just wins the round off the back of it. That's very categorically that type of play that Roy's just pulled off with flying colors. Now, on the chase, they do lose a couple of players, but it's so important that they limit the amount of weapons here for Akimbo, because that money, that well has run a little dry. Hasn't been the most successful half all in all, but the fact that they've even got the one win here or there can sometimes disrupt the loss bonus. Just enough so to limit some utility.
Zyphon looks away for that flashbang. Doesn't matter at all. Remember, if they still contain them at 5, let's not forget that.
Yeah, they pulled off the comeback.
Yeah,
on
they
Inferno,
did.
so
Obviously
they
different.
did have to move into a CT side, which I think
Yes.
Akimbo had more options in how to counteract things. On
At the
T
same
side,
time.
you're fairly limited.
Roy's not going to be entrying. So, you know, just saying.
Yeah, that's where we look at players like nicoodoz to really step up to the plate.
So far, he hasn't had that pressure on him at all, really. Kyojin, he's been prioritizing that one-way smoke pretty often, actually, so far. Would not be surprised to see Copenhagen Flames maybe double nade that later on as well. Deep into the round, you hear that smoke blooming. There you go. Double trouble.
Just chilling. Waiting for that smoke to fade. Don't want to fall victim to it.
He's gotten aggressive though in the meanwhile. This is where he could actually end up finding this boost if he strafes wide enough, but Roy instead, the dynamic duo of Roy and whoever's just helping him with utility or boost is really just wonderful.
I mean, we didn't see it much, but that's kind of, I mean, it's just kind of gross from what Roy's doing.
Yeah.
He's been so A-sided in a lot of the defaults here for Copenhagen Flames. Now they're just like, yeah, we'll make a B play. Roy, just jump up here, have a little peruse, see what's up.
Look, it makes sense to me, Michael, because you know, obviously we've been trying to grow Counter-Strike's audience a lot more as well, and we wanted to be a little bit more PG, so we can't show what Roy is actually doing to them.
Yeah. Might need Guardian approval.
This man has got a fair bit of a violent streak so far. 11, though, secured for Copenhagen Flames, and Michael, I'm hearing cries of nuke coming through.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way they messed this one up, surely. I mean...
Surely. Dude, this is just... Roy is insane. I know we keep talking about it, but the thing is, he's got 21 kills and the closest on his team is 10.
Yeah, and same way we're hyping up, you know, Python had a lot of impact on the first map. I mean, the real difference maker has been Roy, so to not talk about him would be, in fact, an injustice.
A little bit more pressure this time over towards A and mid for Akimbo. They've left Python on the B-bomb set with Kyojin to actually aggress through. The question is, will they actually push forward from here? No, it doesn't quite look like it.
That's a bridge control smoke. Haji, I think, is ready to go and make sure that that A side is completely clear. And yeah, he pushes deep in towards ramp, so some early info here for Akimbo.
Oh, this is beautiful! Kyojin is right there with Python to clean them up. 3 players taken out, and they're still fighting for it at the very least. Man. Bomb now recovered as well. Copenhagen Flames, all they can hope to do is provide a little bit more damage. And obviously, with the CT economy being where it is, that's not quite something that I don't put a lot of value on.
Yeah, I'm liking the change of pace here from Akimbo. Making sure that they had to have players over towards A, but also B simultaneously. They had a multitude of different changes here to the CT play. Zyphon still alive and kicking, but only just. The nade might have just finished off the job, but Haji just puts a bullet in him instead. And this will be another comfortable buy here from the Copenhagen Flames, considering the amount of wins they've had, courtesy of some clean and nice entries. But just going for a bit of this, again, high-low setup that they've been making use of in middle. We saw it on Inferno and B. Now making use of it again over towards these B steps on Vertigo. And I think now we might see Copenhagen Flames take a bit more of an aggressive default. Just make sure everything's kept in check. But I do say that, and everyone's just clustered up over towards the A side instead. Oh, a lot of this multi-kill here on the side of Akimbo. Molotov doesn't quite sail the way Haji wanted it to, but some solid damage onto Roy.
He's not going to find anything either. Zyphon's good for the first, but Marco trades. That's a big man gone, and Haji is still in control of the bomb site. Marco wants another, and he scopes out, wide swings, and gets it done. Now, still 3-on-2. Copenhagen Flames can definitely recover this, but with the utility being a little bit dry and with no Roy, that'll always be slightly more difficult. Even so, lots and lots of time to work with.
They're re-aggressing.
Oh, this could be problematic. Jabbi can't actually back off, and he's heard the scope. Is the bomb dropped on their side?
Yeah, just from the corner.
Right. Jabbi, though, just walks into his crosshair. That could have been the perfect place to be. Just waiting for the T side to make a move. Instead, Python and his aggression is caught out. Kyojin rotates back as well, and now they can make their way onto the B bomb site. The one time Kyojin rotates a little bit early on, I say that at 30 seconds left on the clock, admittedly. It still might be a little bit risky. Laka makes so much noise, but he gets the kill anyway. nicoodoz just misses out, and now he just has to wait for it. Mark is holding a close range with the CZ.
No idea he's expecting that. No, he doesn't play it safe whatsoever. Maka just takes control. They wanted to fight for A-Ram. They just kept on peeking with the AWP rifles. He even moves in with the CZ to finish off the job, but it's Akimbo that scraped together 4 rounds towards the tail end of this first half. We'll see if that carries over, whether there's a comeback story on the cards for map 2, or whether Copenhagen Flames force us into nuke.
Too much damage, but he's the one who's planting it. If there's a nade to go through, a fair bit of tag damage as well through the smoke, but it's Haji on the lurk continuing to just be such a menace, jumping around with the Glock. He's just looking to chase them all down, and Haji making up for everything lost on the CT side now that we've switched over. That is beautiful.
Oh, great little movement there from Haji. Even if it looks a little chaotic, a little crazy, don't really know what's going on. He's turning different directions while reloading, making it really difficult for any sort of a headshot to come through, but really just great patience from him as well. His teammates were making progress up a ramp, and all they had to do was pull a little distraction, force that B anchor to rotate over, because they could hear that plant coming in as well. And that's exactly when Haji activates. Like you said, trying to redeem himself for what was a pretty lackluster first half after getting dominated by the Copenhagen Flames entry. See if they can find some similar success on this T side. First half for Copenhagen Flames, and they're running into the gauntlet. So many weapons here for Akimbo. It's an easy sweep up.
Okay. Michael, I don't know if you remember this, but I pointed out a little bit earlier on that before we started, Haji is pretty nutty on the T side of Vertigo in general. I didn't think he would be able to show us that form because of what happened in the first half, but if he pulls that off, he's not quite on Roy's level in my opinion, but he definitely has his moments where it's just like, well, guy just gets either a super chaotic push in, or like we saw in the BIS round, some pretty nice lures as well. So it could be some win conditions, and Python hitting shots is definitely one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this might be a little bit of a problem, though, on the side of Akimbo. The fact that they lost an early player, the fact that nicoodoz is low, a bit of presence and sound being made over towards A. Things do indicate a bit of a B-sided play, but that information hasn't been relayed over, or at least attained here from the Copenhagen Flames. They're still hesitant to reinforce Jabbi's position because Akimbo are heading his direction.
That's the most robotic turn from Hoaxy towards his player to pick up.
Maybe hitting the turn bind real quick.
Oh, Jabbi. Quickly just knocked out of the park, but Hooksy's here to trade. That trade, however, will be continued. A 2-on-2 now with the bomb being planted. No grenades over here to take down nicoodoz. Not going to be easy, and he's got a double flash as well as Haji getting information on both these players. Now Haji, with a quick flash forward, could be peeking out, but he's peeked out into his death. nicoodoz. That flash didn't blind nicoodoz at all.
1-1, and nicoodoz is really low HP, so very difficult fight for him to take. He could just very easily get spammed, and as he goes for the swing alongside the flash, Roy's just there to greet him with open arms. More than enough time here for the defuse to come in on the Flames. Didn't need a kit. They got there nice and snappy. Well, Akimbo get a small glimpse of what victory smells like, what it feels like to win a couple of rounds when we're into guns. As soon as we get those M4s out, Copenhagen Flames answer in a pretty significant way. I'm liking that middle is a little bit more contested here on the T side for Akimbo. You can see that they have some plans about how they want to pressure Copenhagen Flames' rotating players. Maybe expend some of that utility as well so that an A or B side play isn't met with as many flashes, as many Molotovs. But they're taking that type of control and taking a lot of damage and expending quite a few resources themselves just to threaten that idea.
This round could be
light.
Yeah, this round could be everything though, Michael. I'm also going to be looking forward to seeing how Copenhagen Flames, you know, you mentioned it before, nicoodoz is going to be a big factor in the CT side defense. Kios, oh, he's just flicked on him. Perfect play from Kios, but he's not prepared for HooXi on the side. He's so concentrated on the other angle, but Haji's here to compensate himself. There's 2 HP on him. Flashbang overhead is going to be peeking out. Roy is there to trade, and a missed shot from Maka means that Roy could have gotten away, but he stays a little bit too long. Python successfully brings him down. And all the pressure comes down onto Jabbi to make sure he doesn't just fall in this situation. If he takes down Copenhagen, it could be a big one. And that's exactly what happens now. The call can be made, but if Zyphon moves, that's going to be a little bit too dangerous. Jabbi just gets the information, but they're still coming over towards his B-bomb site. Both the CTs are still hard committed as well. No one's actually moving a muscle. It'll be a 1-on-2 regardless of where you go, but no flashes might make this a fair fight.
Jabbi gave up his position inside of the bomb site, instead playing from the generator, so Zyphon can actually reinforce this with a flashbang. The peek from the generators could be big, but Akimbo blinded up, still holding their ground in terms of how they peek this into the site. 10 seconds left, they need to get this bomb down.
And Maka's going to have to stick it 1 HP on him, but Jabbi's pushed out. Despite Python getting the kill, he had to just pull out his gun and take the duel. Zyphon able to intercept him en route to the bomb, a risky maneuver. But even so, it pays off.
And it shows the difference maker in having that reposition there from Jabbi. I thought the fact that he'd given up his sort of territory on the site, because he was last seen towards the backside of the generators, I thought that would be something that would be dialed in on the side of Akimbo, but he moved back there, wasn't sure about some sort of a mid-lurk there from Akimbo. Because he repositioned, that flash was devastating to bleeding more time away from Akimbo. Full save here from the T side and running right into the MP9 of Roy and the FAMAS of HooXi. There's actually so many CTs here, so it doesn't matter how many they take down. Another one rears its head.
Bit of a Hydra situation. Copenhagen Flames, despite looking like they did have a couple of struggling moments, are still very quickly making their route over to 16. Fortunately for them, don't quite fall prey to the eco this time. We've seen a few of those, even in this series.
Yeah. Not anything ridiculous, no big trends, but one here or there. Not really so much on this map.
I think we saw one in the first half, actually.
Yeah,
for,
just the one.
Yeah. Oh, nicoodoz is just trying to jump
out
up
of here,
and down. Someone come, give me some help. Oh, baby. Kios and Haji that is beautiful. Just the instant headshots, and now Maka wants to get involved as well. He slaps Copenhagen on the back of his head. Jabbi, flashbang, nicely placed from HooXi, and he can just get the quick kill. So, despite the early double, it'll still be the CTs coming out on top. Maka all alone in a 1v3, has the bomb, but not much of a chance, and Jabbi will seal the deal.
I've got to say, a couple of these sort of one-tap flick shots that Kios has been hitting, I almost want to say that, like, in between those shots, he's almost flabbergasted. He's getting these nice, clean entries because he's not really clearing all the angles or waiting for his teammates to be close by enough to actually line up trades. Like we saw on that A-ramp flick, he just sort of stopped in place, I think, in awe of what just happened. Yeah. And it's not resulted in round wins, unfortunately, for him. 15-6, Copenhagen Flames closing in on forcing that third map in the series. Yeah, this is another one of these buys that ain't too pretty. No AKs to go for these one-bullet headshots. They're getting a little bit more ground over towards A because Copenhagen Flames aren't contesting it so heavy.
Nice nade from HooXi. Looked like I was going to do a little bit more, but Haji, well, we'll just be lining up the Molotov to try to make sure that HooXi is boxed in. HooXi can and will just retreat, however, and maintains position to some extent. Kios is been looking good for these entries, but whether or not they can convert, like you mentioned, is a separate question. He's still looking to get aggressive on top of the sandbags already. Move, boss. They weren't ready, and Zyphon is punished. Hoaxy will take him down. He's on in third person now. A full 2-on-2. Kyojin and Python. All that's left, Akimbo. A doable round when you consider that Kyojin has as much space as he has on the B bomb site, but nicoodoz and jabbi are still close to rotate.
Feels like they're trying to be sneaky about this, but they made so much noise rotating. Python's thunderfooting it over towards B, so they're both here.
nicoodoz can just start to peek forward as well. How are they even going to cover? What a shot from jabbi. Kyojin now left all alone, and he's been brought down as well. It'll be the equalizer as far as the series is concerned, and we are going to nuke Michael. Copenhagen Flames, a dominant performance.
Yeah, and something that could have maybe happened in that first map, right? We were kind of expecting after a 10-5 half that Copenhagen Flames would be able to maintain that sort of dominance moving forward.